High above the swirling blue storms of the gas giant Clithera, the Coalition Grand Station turned slowly in perfect orbit. Inside its largest chamber, 20 ancient species sat in a wide circle. Crystal beings, feathered diplomats, scaled warriors, glowing energy forms, all of them silent. No one spoke. The air felt thick, heavy. Grand Admiral Thal'kir stood at the center. His body was made of sharp, clear crystals that caught every light and sent rainbows across the walls. Right now, those crystals were dark, almost black. He raised one long arm. A small device floated up. He pressed it. The scout ship's last audio played again. A rough, tired human voice filled the perfect room. The children of Earth are awake, and we remember everything. The words ended. Silence returned. One feathered council member shifted. His beak clicked nervously. Surely a trick, he said. Humans died long ago. Their world is ash and poison. This must be old code. A broken machine repeating lies. Others nodded. Soft laughs came from a few corners. Nervous laughs. Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, deep red. The scout ship is gone, he said. Destroyed. But before it died, the black box sent us one last file. Visual data. From the final seconds. He waved his hand. The lights in the chamber dimmed to near black. A hologram bloomed in the center of the circle. Grainy, shaky, full of static. Everyone leaned forward. The image showed the inside of the scout ship bridge. Alarms flashing. Crew running. Then the viewport filled with something huge. A warship, not Coalition design. No graceful curves. No clean white hull. This thing looked angry. Patched metal plates. Thick armor scarred by old battles. Thousands of gun barrels pointing in every direction. Red markings streaked across its side like fresh blood. The hologram zoomed in slowly. On the bow, in huge white letters humans once used. We never left. Gasps filled the room. A scaled warrior hissed. Impossible. We glassed their system ourselves. No survivors. A glowing energy being flickered. The archives are clear. Human extinction was total. But Thal'kir's voice cut through. The signal is live. The ship we just lost saw this vessel. It spoke to them, and then it killed them. He looked around the circle. This is no ghost. This is real. The chamber exploded into noise. Voices shouted over each other. Send the fleet. Blockade the dead zone. Erase the signal. Study it. One small voice rose above the rest. A young diplomat from the tiny Vren species. She was barely taller than a human child. Her skin shimmered soft silver. What if, she said quietly. Everyone turned. What if we did not kill them all? The room went still again. Thal'kir stared at her. Then he spoke. We send the second fleet. 3 dreadnoughts. 12 heavy cruisers. Full science support. We go in force. We find this warship. We find this signal. And we end it. He turned to the hologram. The ugly ship still filled the image. Silent. Waiting. Thal'kir's crystals flashed bright white. Prepare the jump. We leave in 6 hours. The council members rose. Some hurried out. Some stayed, staring at the frozen image. Outside the chamber windows, the blue gas giant spun on. Peaceful, unaware, but far away, in the dark edge of space, something else was waking. And it had been waiting a very long time. The Grand Council chamber fell into a deeper hush as Grand Admiral Thal'kir raised his crystalline arm once more. Light inside his clear body shifted from dark red to cold blue. Every facet of his form caught the glow of the chamber walls and threw it back sharper, colder. He did not speak. He simply touched the floating control orb again. The rough human voice returned, filling every corner of the perfect room. The children of Earth are awake, and we remember everything. The words rolled out slow and heavy, like stones dropped into still water. They did not echo, they sank. 20 ancient species sat frozen in their seats. Feathered wings stopped mid-flutter. Scaled tails curled tight. Energy beings dimmed to almost nothing. Even air recyclers seemed to whisper softer. Thal'kir let the message play a third time. No one asked him to stop. When it ended, the silence stretched long enough to feel alive. A high-ranking diplomat from the Aviara Elder Crucial finally broke it. His golden feathers trembled. This voice, it is not synthetic. I have studied ancient human recordings. This one breathes. It carries weight, pain, anger. Another voice rose, a deep rumble from the scaled Draken representative, Lord Varric. Anger? From a dead species? We ended their wars. We watched their world burn from orbit. No ships escaped. No colony survived. The archives are sealed, signed by every major house. He turned his massive head toward Thal'kir. Explain the black box data, Admiral. Explain how a ghost kills a scout ship. Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, bright white, then dark again. The black box survived by pure luck, he said. It ejected seconds before destruction. We recovered it 3 hours ago. There's more than audio. He waved both arms this time. The hologram returned, larger now, sharper. The ugly warship filled the chamber like a living thing. Scarred hull, angry lines, gun ports open like hungry mouths. The red streaks across its armor looked wet, fresh. Then the letters appeared again, zoomed in until they towered over the council. We never left. A young energy being flickered in panic. That writing, it is old Earth English. No civilized species uses it anymore. How do they know our translation protocols? Thal'kir answered without looking away from the image. They do not need translation. The message was sent in coalition standard first, then in their old tongue. They wanted us to understand both. Lord Varric slammed a clawed fist on his stone table. Cracks spidered across it. This is insult. They mock us with primitive words. No, said the small silver diplomat from the Vrenegan. Her voice was soft, but it carried. They remind us. They say we thought they were gone. They say we were wrong. Elder Crucial tilted his beak. Wrong? The bombardment records are public. We turned their cities to glass. Their oceans boiled for years. Nothing could live. Thal'kir finally turned from the hologram. His crystal face had no eyes, but every being felt his stare. Then explain this. He changed the image. New data appeared. Sensor logs from the lost scout ship. Atmospheric readings from a forbidden planet. Breathable air. Normal radiation. Vast green zones. City lights on the night side. Population estimates. Tens of millions. The council chamber erupted. Voices overlapped. Faked. Impossible. Another species mimicking humans. Or survivors hidden. All this time, Thal'kir raised both arms high. Light exploded from his body, pure white, blinding. Every voice stopped. Enough, he said. The light dimmed. We will not argue myths. We will go and see. He looked around the circle slowly. The second fleet is already fueling. 3 dreadnoughts, 12 cruisers, 2 full science wings, 10,000 warriors. We jump in 6 hours. Lord Varric grinned, showing rows of sharp teeth. Good. We will burn whatever is left. End the joke properly this time. But the young Vren diplomat stood. Her silver skin caught the light. Admiral, what if it is not a joke? What if they truly waited 400 cycles? What if they rebuilt in secret while we celebrated their death? Thal'kir looked down at her. Then we will learn why they are angry, he said, and we will answer with fire. He turned back to the hologram. The ugly warship still hung there. Silent, patient, far away, deep in the dead zone. That same warship drifted inside its hidden asteroid dock. On its dark bridge, Captain Mara Kane listened to the Coalition's open planning channels. Every word of the council debate came through clear. She sat in an old chair welded from scrap metal. Scars crossed her face. One eye was real, brown and sharp. The other glowed soft blue machine. Her crew stood around her. Hard men and women. Children groaned in tunnels. All of them quiet. Mara smiled. Small. Cold. They are coming, she said. Her second-in-command, Jax, a giant with arms replaced by black steel, nodded. How many ships? 15 capital class. Thousands of crew. They think it is enough. Jax laughed once. They always think numbers win. Mara stood. Walked to the main screen. Touched it. The view changed to the blue-green planet below. Cities glowed soft under clouds. Farms spread wide. Children played in real sunlight. she whispered to the glass. They forgot what survival costs. Then she turned to her crew. Prepare the welcome. Wake the old guns. Open the silos. Jax hesitated. All of them, Captain. Mara's real eye hardened. All of them. She walked deeper into the ship, past rows of silent fighters, past walls covered in names, every human lost in the old wars. At the end of a long hall, she stopped at a sealed vault. Hand on scanner. Door opened. Inside floated the blue sphere. Ancient, beautiful, deadly. Its surface swirled with light. Mara placed both hands on it. Hello, old friend, she whispered. They're coming to finish what they started. The sphere pulsed once, bright, warm. Mara smiled again. Good. Let them come. Back in the council chamber, Thal'kir ended the meeting. The leaders filed out. Some excited, some afraid. None of them noticed the tiny red light blinking on the recovered black box. A second transmission, buried deep, waiting. It carried only 7 words in the same rough voice. Tell your fleet, we are ready. The light kept blinking. Unseen, unheard. For now, the Grand Council chamber still hummed with the echo of the human voice. The words, we remember everything, seemed to hang in the air like smoke that refused to clear. A ripple of nervous laughter broke out from the back rows. It started with Lord Varric, the scale dragon. His deep chuckle rolled like distant thunder. A prank, he said, slapping one clawed hand on his table. Some clever scavenger found an old human relay buoy, rigged it with a voice actor. Humans are extinct. Their planet is a radioactive graveyard. We all saw the scans after the bombardment. Others joined in. Soft, uneasy laughs. The kind people use when they want to believe something badly. Elder Creshel's golden feathers fluffed slightly in amusement. Exactly. 400 cycles of peace. No human ships. No colonies. No signals. Then suddenly a ghost story? Come now. This is theater. Someone wants attention. A glowing energy being pulsed in soft blue amusement. Perhaps a minor species testing our response time. Or pirates hoping to scare us away from salvage rights in the dead zone. The laughter grew a little louder. It felt safe, comfortable, familiar. But Grand Admiral Thal'kir did not laugh. His towering crystalline form stood motionless at the center. Every facet of his body caught the chamber lights, but now those lights bent strangely. His crystals pulsed darker, deep crimson bleeding into near black. The shift was slow, deliberate, like blood spreading through clear water. The laughter died one voice at a time. Thal'kir raised one arm. The control orb floated to him again. The scout's black box survived, he said. His voice carried no humor, only cold weight. It ejected before the final explosion. We recovered it intact 3 hours ago. It sent us something else. He did not wait for questions. The hologram in the center of the circle changed. The ugly warship reappeared, larger this time. The grainy footage from the scout's final seconds played forward in slow motion. Everyone watched. The massive vessel drifted closer. No fancy engines. No glowing shields. Just raw mass. Patches of hull looked like they had been welded in haste. Scars from ancient battles crisscrossed its surface. Gun barrels tracked the scout ship with mechanical patience. Then the camera caught something new. A small hatch opened on the side of the warship. Something launched. Not a missile. Not a fighter. A single object. Small. Black. Spherical. It moved fast, too fast for the scout's sensors to lock fully. The sphere streaked across the viewport. Impact. The footage shook violently. Alarm screamed. The scout ship's hull tore open in a perfect circle. No explosion, no fire. Just clean removal. Like a surgeon's cut. The sphere vanished inside the breach. Then the scout's internal cameras flickered. For 3 horrifying seconds, the council saw what the scout crew saw. A black sphere hovering in the bridge. It pulsed once, soft violet light. Every crew member froze. Not in fear, in stillness. As if time itself had stopped for them. Then the sphere simply left. It floated out through the same hole it made. The scout ship drifted. Lights died one by one. No explosions. No screams on the audio. Just silence. The hologram ended. The chamber was dead quiet. Lord Varric's claws dug into his table. Cracks spread wider. That was surgical, he whispered. Elder Crucial's feathers lay flat against his body. No weapon signature we recognize. No energy discharge. It just stopped them. The young Vren diplomat stood again. Her silver skin shimmered faintly. They did not destroy the ship to kill, she said softly. They destroyed it to send a message. They could have vaporized it. They chose precision. They chose to let the black box escape. Thal'kir nodded once. His crystals stayed dark. Correct. They wanted us to see. To know. He turned slowly, addressing every face in the circle. The Second Fleet is not a scientific mission anymore. It is armed for total engagement. We will enter the dead zone with overwhelming force. We will locate this warship. We will locate the source of the signal. And we will end whatever remnant of humanity still exists. A pause, or we will learn exactly why 400 cycles of silence did not mean extinction. The energy being flickered nervously. Admiral, what if there are more than one ship? Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, bright scarlet. Then we burn them all. He dismissed the hologram with a sharp gesture. The lights in the chamber rose again. Council members rose slowly. Some hurried toward exits. Others lingered, staring at the spot where the black sphere had hovered in the recording. Outside the massive viewports, the blue gas giant continued its slow spin. Peaceful, eternal, but far away, inside the hidden asteroid dock, Captain Mara Kane watched a live feed of the council chamber. Stolen Coalition encryption cracked open like an egg. She sat alone now. The blue sphere floated beside her, humming softly. Mara touched its surface. The sphere rippled. A faint voice, not human, whispered back in her mind. They send 15 ships. They come in anger. Mara smiled. Thin, tired. Good, she said. Let them bring their anger. She stood. Tell the others. Wake the silos. Charge the old arrays. Open the vaults. The sphere pulsed brighter. Mara walked to the bridge viewport. The blue-green planet turned below. Cities glowed. Children laughed in real streets. Farms grew real food under real sun. She placed one scarred hand on the glass. They think we are ghosts, she whispered. They're about to learn ghosts can bite. Behind her, the warship's engines began a low, hungry rumble. Deep in hidden hangars across the planet, more ugly ships stirred. More spheres woke. More hearts beat faster. The fleet was coming, and Earth was ready to greet them. Not with open arms, with open fire. The lights in the Grand Council chamber dropped low. Only the soft blue glow from the central hologram platform remained. Shadows stretched long across the stone tables and polished seats. 20 ancient species leaned forward as one. Grand Admiral Thal'kir stood motionless. His crystalline body caught the dim light and turned it cold. He raised a single finger. The hologram snapped to life. Grainy, distorted, shaky from the scout ship's dying sensors. A massive warship filled the screen. No smooth lines like Coalition dreadnoughts. No glowing energy fields or elegant curves. This thing was built from hate and necessity. Thick armor plates overlapped like scales on a wounded beast. Weld lines glowed faintly orange where fresh repairs had been made. Thousands of gun barrels stared out, some sleek railguns, some crude plasma tubes patched from salvage parts. Strange red markings streaked across the hull. Not paint, something thicker, like blood that had dried and been painted over again and again. The council stared in silence. Lord Varric's claws dug deeper into his table. That is no warship. That is scrap metal held together by rage. Elder Crucial's feathers flattened completely. Look at the scale. It dwarfs our cruisers. How did primitives build something that size and secret? The hologram zoomed slowly. Details sharpened despite the grain. One section of hull showed mismatched plating. Some pieces still carried faded Coalition markings. Stolen, repurposed, turned against their makers. Another section had rows of launch tubes. Not missiles. Something larger. Spherical shapes waited inside, black and smooth, just like the one that had gutted the scout ship. The young Vren diplomat whispered, "Those spheres, they're the same as the one that boarded the scout." They did not explode. They harvested. Thal'kir's crystals pulsed darker. Harvested data. Harvested lives. Harvested time. They let the black box escape, so we would see this. He gestured again. The hologram shifted to external camera feed. The ugly warship rotated slowly. On its flank, the red markings formed words in Old Earth script. Coalition translators overlaid them instantly. "We remember your names." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Lord Varric snarled. "Names? What names?" "We ended a threat. We saved the galaxy from their madness." A glowing energy being flickered erratically. The archives list no specific names. Just human aggression. Collective punishment. Standard protocol. The Vren diplomat stood taller. Her silver skin caught the hologram's light. Standard protocol that left survivors. Survivors who wrote down every name, every ship, every vote in this very chamber. Thal'kir silenced the room with a sharp pulse of light. "We will not debate history now," he said. "We will correct it." He zoomed the hologram one last time. The warship's bow came into sharp focus. A single figure stood on an open platform. No shield, no suit, just a scarred human in patched armor. Wind from the void whipped her dark hair. She looked straight into the scout's camera. Straight at them. Her lips moved. No audio on this feed, but the translators caught the words from lip reading. "Come closer." The hologram froze on her face. Hard eyes. Tired smile. Absolute certainty. The chamber stayed quiet for a long beat. Then Elder Cretial spoke softly. "She's not afraid." Thal'kir's crystals flared bright white once, then settled. "She should be." He turned to the council. "The Second Fleet jumps in 5 hours. Full combat load. No science wing. No observers. Warriors only. We enter the dead zone at battle speed. We find that warship. We find that woman. We find whatever is left of Earth." Lord Varric rose. "And when we find them," Thal'kir's voice was ice, "we finish what we started 400 cycles ago. No prisoners. No mercy. No records left to twist. The energy being dimmed. And if there are more ships, more spheres, more humans." Thal'kir looked at the frozen image of the woman. "Then we burn the entire system. Again. Deeper this time." He waved. The hologram vanished. Lights rose slowly. Council members stood. Some moved quickly to prepare. Others lingered, staring at the empty space where the warship had been. Outside the viewports, the blue gas giant turned, calm and uncaring. Far away, inside the asteroid dock, Captain Mara Kane watched the same hologram feed, stolen again from Coalition channels. She stood alone on her bridge now. The ugly warship hummed around her like a living thing. Jax entered quietly. His metal arms clicked softly. "They saw you," he said. Mara nodded. "Good." She turned to the viewport. The blue-green planet spun below. Lights twinkled like stars brought home. "They think they are coming to finish us," she said. Jax grunted. "They always think that." Mara touched the console. A new display appeared, silos opening across the planet. Black spheres rising on silent elevators. Old railguns charging with low growls. Fighters powering up in hidden bays. She looked back at Jax. "Let them come closer." She smiled. The same tired, dangerous smile from the hologram. "Then we show them why running was never an option." Deep in the ship, the ancient blue sphere pulsed brighter. Its surface rippled. A faint whisper echoed in Mara's mind. "They bring fire." Mara placed her hand on the sphere. "Then we bring hell." The warship's engines rumbled louder. Across the planet, millions of hearts beat in rhythm. Waiting, watching, remembering. The fleet was coming, and Earth had kept score for 400 years. The game was about to change. Grand Admiral Thal'kir's crystalline arm moved with slow precision. He pointed one sharp facet at the hologram. The image obeyed instantly. It zoomed in tight, closer, closer, until the rough metal surface filled every corner of the council chamber. The red markings resolved into clear focus. 3 huge words, painted in stark white letters humans once used across their old warships and ruined cities. "We never left." The letters were not neat. Edges bled where paint had run. Some strokes looked fresh, others faded like old scars. But the message was perfect, unmistakable. It stared back at the council like eyes that had waited 400 cycles to blink. Silence gripped the room again. No nervous laughter this time. No quick jokes. Just the soft hum of the station's systems and the faint swirl of the gas giant outside. Lord Varric's massive chest rose and fell faster. His scales clicked together in agitation. "Bluff," he growled. "Empty words from a dying species. They paint threats because they have nothing else." Elder Crucial tilted his head, golden feathers catching the hologram's light. "Yet those words are in our language now. Coalition standard. They learned it after we thought them gone. They adapted it. They made sure we would read it." The glowing energy being pulsed erratically, colors shifting from blue to anxious violet. "How many ships like this one exist?" it asked. "One ugly hulk does not make an empire. But if there are more, if they rebuild in the shadows." Thal'kir did not answer right away. He let the words hang on the hologram. Let every council member feel their weight. Then he spoke. "These are not the words of ghosts. These are the words of survivors who refused the grave we gave them." He turned slowly, his crystalline body throwing fractured rainbows across the faces around him. "We bombarded their world. We watched the firestorms. We declared extinction. And yet, here are words. Here is metal. Here is defiance." The young Vren diplomat stepped forward again. Her small frame looked even smaller in the vast chamber, but her voice carried clear. "Admiral, what if the words are true? What if they never left because they could not leave? What if they hid instead, under the glass, in the tunnels, in the dark, waiting for us to forget?" Lord Varric snorted. "Waiting? For 400 cycles? No species endures that long on hate alone." The Vren looked up at him. "Humans were never like us. The old files called their world a death world. Gravity heavy, predators everywhere, seasons that try to kill them. They survived ice ages, plagues, their own wars. Perhaps hate was enough." Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, deep crimson. "Enough debate," he said. "We do not guess. We act." He gestured sharply. The hologram shifted. New data overlaid the warship image. Sensor ghosts. Faint energy traces from the dead zone. Not one ship. Multiple signatures. Small at first, then larger. Patterns that suggested docking bays. Hidden shipyards. Launch tubes buried under asteroid rock. "Not one," Thal'kir said quietly. "At least 7 confirmed hulls. More probable. They have been building. Quietly. Patiently." Gasps again. This time sharper. Elder Crucial's beak opened, then closed. Lord Varric's claws scraped stone. "Then we outnumber them. 15 capital ships against 7 scrap heaps. Easy." Thal'kir met his gaze. Numbers did not save the scout ship. Precision did not save it. Arrogance killed it. He waved the hologram away. The chamber lights rose slowly. The second fleet jumps at dawn station time. Full battle formation. Dreadnoughts in front. Cruisers screening. No hesitation. No parley. We enter the dead zone, and we purge whatever crawled back from the grave. He paused. "And when we find the source of those words, we erase them. Forever this time." The council rose. Chairs scraped. Footsteps hurried toward exits. Some faces showed excitement. Others fear. All showed resolve. Thal'kir remained standing alone for a moment. His crystals dimmed to soft gray. He whispered to the empty chamber. "You should have stayed dead." Far across the void, inside the scarred warship, Captain Mara Kane watched the same words on her stolen feed. "We never left." She traced the letters on her console with one scarred finger. A small smile touched her lips. "They read it," she said to the empty bridge. Jack stepped in behind her. His metal arms gleamed under the low lights. And they still think words are just words." Mara turned, walked to the viewport. The planet below turned slow and beautiful. Cities glowed like warm coals. Children ran in streets, rebuilt from rubble. She pressed her palm to the glass. "They will learn soon enough." She looked back at Jax. "Signal the fleet. All ships to battle stations. Spheres to ready positions. Silos open. Guns hot." Jax nodded. "The blue one too?" Mara's eyes went to the sealed vault at the far end of the bridge, especially the blue one. She walked toward it. The door hissed open at her approach. The glowing sphere floated inside. Its light pulsed steady. Alive. Mara placed both hands on its surface. They read our message, she whispered. The sphere rippled. Warm light flowed into her palms. A voice, not sound but thought, answered in her mind. Then let them come read the rest in fire. Mara closed her eyes. Across the planet, hidden doors slid open. Black spheres rose on silent platforms. Railguns whirred to life. Fighters powered up in underground bays. Millions of humans, scarred, strong, patient, took their places. Engines rumbled. Hearts beat faster. The coalition fleet was coming. And Earth had kept every promise it ever made to itself. The words on the hull were not a boast. They were a fact. And facts have teeth. The council chamber burst into chaos the moment the hologram faded. Voices crashed against each other like waves on jagged rocks. "Impossible!" shouted Lord Varric, slamming both fists on his cracked table. Stone dust puffed into the air. Humans were primitives, brutal, short-lived animals who could not even agree on peace among themselves. Elder Crucial's feathers flared bright gold in agitation. "We wiped their system ourselves centuries ago. Every major house voted. Every dreadnought fired. We saw the fireballs bloom across their skies. No escape pods. No hidden fleets. Nothing. A glowing energy being pulsed wildly, colors flashing red and violet. The archives are sealed. Triple verified. Extinction was confirmed. No life signs. No transmissions. This must be forgery. A deep fake from some rogue AI." Others joined the roar. "Send investigators. Blockade the zone. Erase the signal now." The noise grew louder, overlapping, frantic. Chairs scraped. Wings beat. Scales rattled. Grand Admiral Thal'kir stood at the center like a pillar of ice. His crystals stayed dark, absorbing the light instead of reflecting it. He did not shout. He did not move. But one small voice cut through the storm. Quiet. Steady. Almost lost at first. "What if we didn't wipe them all?" The words came from a young Vren diplomat. She had not raised her voice. She had not stood taller. She simply spoke, and the room noticed. Silence fell in pieces. One voice at a time stopped. Heads turned. Eyes, real and energy, locked on the small silver figure. Lord Varric's mouth stayed open mid-roar. Elder Crucial's feathers slowly folded, the energy being dimmed to a soft, uncertain glow. Thal'kir turned his faceted head toward her. No expression on crystal, but every being felt the weight of his attention. "Explain," he said. The Vren diplomat swallowed once. Her skin shimmered faintly under the chamber lights. "The bombardment was orbital. Surface strikes. We targeted cities, military bases, population centers. But Earth is large, deep, caves, oceans, underground networks humans built long before we arrived. Tunnels, bunkers, vaults designed to survive their own wars." She paused, looked around the circle. "We declared extinction based on surface scans. Radiation levels. No visible movement. But what if some survived below? What if they waited, hid, rebuilt in silence while we celebrated victory?" Lord Varric snorted, but the sound lacked force. 400 cycles underground? No food, no light, no hope. No species endures that. The Vren met his gaze. Humans are not like us. Their history is full of endurance. They survived ice covering their world, plagues that killed billions, wars that scorched their lands. They are stubborn. If even 1% live, they could grow. Slowly, carefully, in secret. Elder Crucial tilted his beak. "And build warships? Spheres that cut ships open without a trace. That requires industry, resources, knowledge." The Vren nodded. They had knowledge. They had resources buried deep. And time. We gave them time by forgetting them. A heavy silence followed. Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, slow crimson. "You suggest we created our own enemy," he said. The Vren did not flinch. "I suggest we may have underestimated them." "Again," Lord Varric growled low. "Then we overestimate now." 15 capital ships. Thousands of warriors. We go in force. We dig them out if we must. Thal'kir raised one arm. The fleet jumps at dawn. No changes, but we add one order. He looked at each council member in turn. No mercy. No prisoners. No records of survivors. If even one human breathes, we end it. We end the myth. We end the memory. The energy being flickered. And if there are millions? Thal'kir's voice was flat. Then we burn deeper. He dismissed the chamber with a sharp gesture. Lights brightened. Council members rose slowly. Some hurried out. Others lingered, whispering. The Vren diplomat stayed, seated a moment longer. She stared at the empty hologram platform. Thal'kir approached her quietly. You spoke truth when others shouted lies, he said. She looked up. I spoke fear. Fear can be useful. He turned away. Far across the void, Captain Mara Kane listened to the entire argument through cracked coalition channels. Every shout, every doubt, every plan. She sat on the edge of the bridge viewport, legs dangling. The blue-green planet turned below like a promise kept. Jack stood nearby, his metal arms crossed. They still think numbers win, he said. Mara laughed once, short-tired. They always do. She hopped down, walked to the console, touched a hidden panel. A new display opened, live feeds from across the planet. Underground cities humming with life. Children training with old rifles. Engineers welding fresh armor plates. Scientists charging black spheres in glowing vaults. Mara traced a finger over the screen. They talk about wiping us again, she said softly. Jax grunted. Let them try. Mara turned to the sealed vault. The blue sphere waited inside. Its light steady, patient. She placed her palm on the door. They think we hid because we were weak. The door hissed open. The sphere floated higher. Light spilled across her face. Mara whispered to it. We hid because we were learning. The sphere pulsed, warm, approving. A faint thought brushed her mind. They come to finish us. Mara smiled. Then we come to remind them why they should never have started. She stepped back. Signal all commands. Battle ready. Spheres to stations. Guns live. No warnings this time. Jax nodded. The fleet will arrive in hours. Mara looked out at the stars. They will see our lights. They will see our ships. They will see our faces. She touched the glass. And they will remember why the galaxy once feared the name Earth. Below, silos opened wider. Engines roared awake. Millions waited. Not in fear. In certainty. The small voice in the council had been right. They had not wiped them all. And now the survivors were done hiding. Grand Admiral Thal'kir raised one crystalline arm high. Light gathered inside him, bright, sharp, blinding. A single pulse exploded outward. Not sound, not heat, just pure white brilliance that filled every corner of the chamber and burned away the shouting. Voices died instantly. Feathers flattened. Scales clicked shut. Energy beings dimmed to faint sparks. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. The light faded slowly. Thal'kir lowered his arm. His body returned to deep crimson like cooled lava. We are sending the second fleet, he said. His voice carried the weight of final command. 3 dreadnoughts, 12 heavy cruisers, full science wing attached for analysis only. No observers, no diplomats. Warriors and technicians. Nothing else. He turned in a slow circle, letting every council member feel the decision settle. We will investigate this so-called human signal. We will locate the source. We will scan the planet. We will examine the warship. And we will end whatever joke this is. Lord Varric's claws flexed, but he stayed silent. His earlier roar had been silenced by the pulse. Elder Cretial spoke first, voice low. No parley? No attempt at communication. Thal'kir's crystals pulsed once, short, negative. They communicated already, with a sphere that carved open a scout ship, with words painted in blood red, with a face that said, "Come closer. We have heard enough." The young Vren diplomat opened her mouth, then closed it. Her silver skin had lost some shine. She looked smaller now. Thal'kir noticed. He addressed her directly. You fear we repeat old mistakes. She nodded once. He continued. Fear is useful. It sharpens focus. But hesitation kills fleets. We go in strength. We go prepared. If they are truly survivors, we offer no second chance. If there's something else, imposters, machines, aliens wearing human skin, we end that too. A glowing energy being flickered weakly. And the planet itself? If life exists below the surface. Thal'kir's voice hardened. If life exists, we sterilize. Deep scans first. Orbital bombardment second. Ground teams only if necessary. No mercy for anything that carries the human name. He gestured to the hologram platform. A new image appeared. Not the ugly warship this time. A tactical overlay of the dead zone. Red markers blinked where faint signatures have been detected. 7 confirmed hulls. Dozens of possible smaller contacts. Energy spikes from the planet's dark side. We jump in formation Delta 9. Dreadnoughts form the spearhead. Cruisers screen flanks. Science wing trails for data collection. Arrival in 12 hours. First action, full sensor sweep. Second, demand surrender. Third, destruction. Lord Varric finally spoke. I volunteer my house's shock troops for boarding actions. Thal'kir nodded once. Approved. Prepare your best. The council chamber began to empty. Footsteps hurried. Doors hissed open and closed. Whispers followed, some excited, some terrified. Thal'kir remained standing alone. He stared at the tactical map. Red markers pulsed like heartbeats. He whispered to the empty room. You should have stayed buried. Across the void, Captain Mara Kane sat cross-legged on the cold deck of her bridge. The stolen Coalition feed played silently on a cracked screen. She watched Thal'kir's pulse of light. Watched the council scatter like frightened insects. Jax leaned against a bulkhead. His metal arms gleamed under emergency lights. They're sending everything, he said. Mara nodded slowly. 3 dreadnoughts. 12 cruisers. Science wing for analysis. They still think science will save them. She stood, stretched. Scars pulled tight across her arms. Signal the network. All commands to final readiness. No more drills. Real stakes now. Jax pushed off the wall. The spheres. Prime them all. Blue one last. It waits for the flag. Mara walked to the viewport. The blue-green planet filled half the sky. Cities twinkled below. Smoke rose from forges. Lights moved in orderly patterns, trains, shuttles, people going about rebuilt lives. She pressed her forehead to the cool glass. They think we are a joke, she said quietly. A prank. A glitch in their perfect history. Jax joined her. They'll learn. Mara turned. Her real, I met his mechanical one. They'll learn why jokes don't fight back with teeth. She moved to the sealed vault. The door opened without touch now. The blue sphere floated free, hovering at eye level. Its surface swirled with inner light, slow, hypnotic. Mara placed both hands on it. They come with 3 dreadnoughts, she whispered. The sphere pulsed warm against her skin. A thought brushed her mind. Not words, but certainty. We waited longer than their empire has stood. Mara closed her eyes. Then let them see what waiting builds. She stepped back. Jax opened fleet-wide comms. He did. Mara's voice carried across every hidden ship, every underground bunker, every silo and hangar. This is Kane. The fleet arrives in 12 hours. They bring overwhelming force. They bring arrogance. They bring the same fire they used 400 cycles ago. A short pause. We do not run. We do not hide. We meet them at the line we drew long ago. Her voice hardened. Every gun, every sphere, every heart. Ready. She looked at the planet again. They think this is investigation. She smiled, small, dangerous. This is judgment. Below, engines roared awake in unison. Black spheres rose on silent lifts. Railguns extended from hidden craters. Fighters taxied into launch tubes. Children were moved to deep shelters. Adults took stations. Millions of voices answered in quiet chorus over the comms. We are ready. Mara touched the blue sphere one last time. It pulsed brighter once, twice. Then it dimmed. Waiting. The Coalition fleet fueled and jumped. Earth waited. Not in fear, in memory. And memory has a long reach. On the edge of the dead zone, a hollowed-out asteroid drifted like any other chunk of dead rock. Its surface was pitted, cold, forgotten. But inside, lights burned low and steady. Air moved through recycled vents. Engines hummed soft enough to fool sensors. The ugly warship waited in the cavernous hollow, its scarred hull pressed close to the asteroid walls. No running lights, no emissions, just silence and patience. On the dark bridge, Captain Mara Kane stood alone at first. Red emergency strips cast long shadows across her face. Scars crossed her cheek like old rivers. One eye was flesh, sharp brown. The other glowed faint blue from the implant. She stared at the main screen. Incoming signatures blinked in slow rhythm. 15 red dots. 3 big ones, dreadnoughts. 12 smaller but still deadly, cruisers. A science wing trailing like cautious pups. They were coming straight for the zone. No detour. No caution. Full speed. Mara watched the dots grow closer on the tactical map. Her lips curved. A small smile. Dangerous. The kind that promised nothing good. Jax entered quietly. His metal arms caught the red light and threw it back in sharp glints. He stopped beside her. They jumped early, he said. Arrogant. Predictable. Mara nodded once. They think we are a problem to solve, not a trap to avoid. She touched the screen. The map zoomed. Dreadnoughts formed a tight spearhead. Cruisers fanned out in protective wings. Science ships hung back, scanning already. 15 capital class, Jax muttered. Thousands of crew. Heavy guns. Shields thick enough to laugh at most threats. Mara's smile grew a fraction. They brought their best toys. She turned, walked to a side console. Fingers danced over keys worn smooth by years of use. A new layer appeared on the map, green dots. Hidden, scattered across asteroids, moons, empty space pockets. Dozens. Some small fighters. Some larger gun platforms. All silent. All waiting. Our welcome party, Mara said. Jax crossed his arms. Metal clicked softly. How many? Enough. She looked back at the Red Fleet signatures. They were close now. Hours away. Tell me about the spheres, she said. Jax pulled up a secondary display. Rows of black orbs appeared. Hundreds. Some in silos on the planet. Some loaded in launch tubes. Some already drifting in stealth orbits around the incoming path. Charged. Primed. Each one carries enough adaptive code to learn from the first hit. The blue one stays with us. It waits for the command ship. Mara placed a hand on the console. Felt the faint vibration of the ship's heart. Good. She walked to the viewport. The asteroid's inner wall framed the black void outside. Somewhere out there, the Coalition fleet burned toward them. Lights on the bridges. Officers giving orders. Crew confident in numbers. Mara pressed her palm to the cold glass. They think this is cleanup, she whispered. A quick burn to erase a bad memory. Jax joined her. They will learn it is not. Mara turned. Her blue eye glowed brighter for a second. Open ship wide. Jax hit the comm panel. Her voice carried through every corridor, every deck, every hidden bunker on the planet below. This is Kane. The fleet is inbound. 3 dreadnoughts. 12 cruisers. They come to finish what they started 400 cycles ago. A short pause. Let the words sink in. We do not greet them with words. We greet them with what we built in the dark. Every gun. Every sphere, every scar we carry. Today they pay the price of forgetting. She let silence hang for 3 heartbeats. Stations. No chatter. No fear. We remember. They will too. The comm clicked off. Jax looked at her. You think they will break when the first sphere hits? Mara shook her head. They will not break easy. They are old. Proud. They will fight hard. Her smile returned, small, cold. That is fine. We'll like hard fights. Hard fights make good stories. She moved back to the main screen. Touched a control. A live feed from the planet appeared. Underground cities. Forges hammering fresh armor. Children in shelters drawing pictures of stars. Adults checking rifles. Engineers loading black spheres into tubes. One feed showed a young girl, maybe 10, looking up at a camera. She waved once. Serious. No smile. Mara stared at the girl for a long moment. Keep her safe, she said quietly. Jax nodded. All of them. Mara straightened. Launch the outer perimeter drones. Let them taste stealth first. No kills yet. Just touch. Jax relayed the order. Outside, small shapes slipped from asteroid cracks. Tiny, silent. They drifted toward the incoming fleet like shadows. On the Coalition dreadnought flagship, alarms would soon beep. Faint contacts. Then nothing. Then more. Confusion first. Then anger. Mara watched the red dots move closer. Time the spheres for the dreadnought lead ship, she said. Hit the bridge. Clean. Let the others see their admiral die. Quiet. Jax grunted approval. Mara looked out again. The void waited. The fleet came. And in the dark bridge of the ugly warship, a scarred captain smiled. Small. Dangerous. Because the galaxy had forgotten one simple truth. Humans do not run from fights. They finish them. And this one had waited 400 years to end. The asteroid's hidden doors cracked open wider. Engines whispered awake. Spheres pulsed in their tubes. Hearts beat steady. The trap was set. The fleet walked in. And Mara Kane waited to close it. The bridge lights stayed low, red strips glowing like dying embers. Captain Mara Kane stood with her back to the viewport, arms crossed over patched armor. The incoming fleet's signatures pulsed on the main screen, red dots closing steady, no hesitation. Jack stepped forward. His giant frame filled half the space between consoles. Metal arms, black steel from shoulder to fingertip, clicked softly when he moved. Scars ran across his face like cracked earth. One eye was gone, replaced by a red lens that scanned everything cold and constant. "Do we run, Captain?" he asked. Voice low, rough. The question hung between them like smoke. Mara shook her head once. Slow. Certain. No. She turned back to the screen. The dreadnoughts led now, massive shapes cutting through the dark like knives. Cruisers fanned out behind. Science ships trailed, scanning already, greedy beams sweeping the void. "We let them come closer," she said. "Let them see what they tried to kill and failed." Jax grunted. Not disagreement, just acknowledgement. He moved to his side panel. Fingers, metal, precise, tap commands. New overlays bloomed on the tactical map. Green dots lit up across the dead zone. Hidden platforms. Stealth mines. Sphere launchers buried in asteroid rock. All silent. All patient. "They think we are remnants," Mara continued. "Broken things crawling out of rubble. They will expect fear. Panic. Retreat." She walked to the viewport, pressed both palms flat against the cold glass. The blue-green planet turned slow below. Home. Rebuilt. Alive. "We give them the opposite." Jax looked at her reflection in the glass. "Show them the teeth first." Mara nodded. "Teeth. Claws. Everything we grew in the dark." She turned, walked to the central console, touched a sealed panel. It hissed open. Inside rested a small black cylinder, old design, human make. She lifted it carefully. The weight felt familiar. "Remember the first sphere test?" she asked. Jax's red lens focused on the cylinder. 20 cycles ago. Took out a rogue asteroid in one clean cut. No debris. No trace. Mara set the cylinder down. Opened it. Inside floated a miniature version of the black spheres, smaller, but identical in menace. "This one is special," she said. "Adaptive core. Learns from every hit. Shares data with the rest. The blue one will command them all when the time comes." She closed the cylinder. Locked it. Launch pattern. Outer perimeter first. Small hits. Confuse their sensors. Make them think pirates. Then the spheres. Target the dreadnought bridges. One by one. Let the cruisers watch their leaders die quiet. Jax nodded. "And when they return, fire?" Mara smiled, small, sharp. "Then we show them why running was never the plan." She moved to the comm panel. Hit fleet-wide again. Her voice carried calm. "Clear. All commands. This is Kane. The fleet is 8 hours out. They come in strength. We meet them in silence first. Then in fury." She paused. "No broadcasts. No challenges. Let them speak first. Let them demand surrender. Let them feel safe in their numbers." Her tone shifted, harder. "Then we answer." She cut the comm. Jax watched her. "You think they will offer terms?" Mara laughed once, short, dry. "They always do. Pride demands it. They will hail us. Offer mercy. Call us relics. Ghosts. Mistakes." She looked at the screen. The red dots grew larger. We will not answer with words. She walked back to the viewport. The planet filled the view now. Lights on the surface moved, trains carrying supplies, shuttles ferrying crews, children safe in deep shelters. One feed caught her eye. A young boy, no more than 12, stood at attention in a bunker hallway. Rifle too big for him. Face serious. He saluted the camera when he saw it active. Mara returned the salute. Slow. Solemn. Jack saw it. Said nothing. Mara turned away from the feed. Jack's status on the blue sphere. He checked a panel. Fully charged. Stable. Waiting for your word. Mara nodded. Good. It stays with us. When the dreadnoughts break formation, when their admiral screams for retreat, that is when the blue one wakes. She placed a hand on Jax's metal shoulder. The steel felt warm under her palm. From constant use, constant readiness. We did not survive 400 cycles to run now. Jax met her gaze. Red lens steady. We survived to finish it. Mara squeezed once. Let go. Launched the first wave. Stealth drones only. Brush their shields. Make them flinch. Jax relayed the order. Outside, tiny shapes slipped from the asteroid's cracks. They drifted silent toward the incoming fleet. On the Coalition flagship bridge, alarms would beep soon. Faint contacts. Dismissed at first. Then more. Then questions. Mara watched the red dots close. Let them come closer, she whispered again. The ugly warship stayed hidden. Engines cold. Guns charged. Spheres waiting. The planet below breathed steady. Millions waited. Not in darkness. In certainty. The fleet approached. And Mara Kane, no longer running, waited to show them why humans never truly left. Because leaving would mean forgetting. And forgetting was not in their blood. Back at the Coalition High Command Station, the grand viewing gallery filled with soft lights and excited murmurs. Thousands of citizens from 20 species gathered in the wide observation dome. Families clustered near the curved viewports. Diplomats in polished robes chatted with engineers. Children pressed noses to the glass, eyes wide. Large holographic screens floated above the crowd. They showed live feeds from the Second Fleet's command bridge. The dreadnought spearhead gleamed under bright white lights. Crew moved with calm efficiency. Officers in crisp uniforms gave final orders. No fear, only confidence. A smooth announcer voice filled the gallery. Citizens of the Coalition, today marks a historic moment. Our Second Fleet has jumped into hyperspace. Destination, the dead zone. Objective, investigate the anomalous signal and confirm the final extinction of the human species. Cheers rose, soft at first, then louder. Feathers fluttered, scales clicked in rhythm. Energy beings pulsed happy blue and green. A young Aviara girl tugged her mother's wing. Will they bring back pictures of the dead planet? Her mother smiled. Of course, little one. And maybe some old human relics for the museum. Nearby, a scaled Draken worker laughed with friends. Ghosts? Huh. We'll see how fast those survivors run when 3 dreadnoughts arrive. An energy being floated past, glowing bright. This is science, not war. We go to close a chapter. To prove once and for all that the galaxy is safe from their madness. The crowd nodded. Murmurs of agreement spread. On the main screen, the fleet's jump sequence played in perfect clarity. Hyperspace engines flared blue-white. Space folded around the ships like silk. One by one, the dreadnoughts vanished. Cruisers followed. Science wing last. The announcer continued. Jump successful. Estimated arrival in 8 hours. Live updates will continue throughout the mission. More cheers. Some citizens raised glasses of sparkling nutrient fluid. Toast to progress. To certainty. To the Coalition's endless peace. A small group of scholars stood near a secondary screen. They zoomed in on archived footage of old Earth, glass deserts, radiation storms, melted cities. Primitives, one said. They destroyed themselves long before we intervened. Another nodded. Their signal is probably just decaying code from a forgotten satellite. We will laugh when we find nothing. Laughter rippled through the group. In the back of the gallery, the young Vryn diplomat watched alone. She had slipped away from the council chamber earlier. Now she stood in shadow, silver skin dull under the bright lights. She stared at the cheering crowd, her small hands clenched. They did not see the black sphere in the scout footage. They did not hear the tired anger in the human voice. They saw only victory, only mockery. She whispered to herself. They mock what they do not understand. A child nearby turned. What did you say, lady? The Vren forced a smile. Nothing, little one. Enjoy the show. But her eyes stayed on the screen. The fleet was gone now. Only empty space remained where the ships had been. 8 hours. Then they would arrive. And the galaxy's perfect story would meet reality. Far away, inside the hollow asteroid, Captain Mara Kane watched the same live feed on her cracked bridge screen. The Coalition citizens cheering. The toasts. The laughter. She listened to their words. Mock the ghost. Close the chapter. Prove extinction. Her scarred face stayed calm. No anger flashed. Just quiet focus. Jack stood beside her. His red lens scanned the feed. They celebrate early, he said. Mara nodded once. They always do. She touched the console. The screen split. One side showed the cheering gallery. The other showed her own planet. Cities alive, lights warm, people moving with purpose. Children in schools learning history, not the Coalition version. The real one. Names, dates, losses, promises kept in silence. Mara looked at the crowd again. They think this is a parade, a chance to laugh at the dead. She turned off the feed. But we are not dead. She walked to the tactical map. Green dots waited, silent, ready. Spheres in tubes. Guns charged. Fighters fueled. 8 hours, she said. Let them jump. Let them arrive. Let them scan. Let them hail us with their pretty demands. Jax crossed his metal arms. Then, Mara's voice stayed even. Then we answer. She moved to the viewport. The incoming path was clear now. Red markers from stolen Coalition data showed exact vectors. Exact times. They will see our lights first. Small. Innocent. Cities on the surface. Farms. Homes. She placed a hand on the glass. They will think how cute survivors playing house. Her smile returned, small, cold. Then the spheres launch. Then the guns speak. Then the blue one wakes. Jax grunted. They will panic. They will scream. Mara looked back at the planet. But we will not scream. We will finish. She turned to Jax. Final check. All stations green. Green. Good. She walked to the sealed vault. The blue sphere floated inside, lights steady. Mara opened the door. Step close. They laugh at ghosts, she whispered to it. The sphere pulsed once, warm, understanding. Mara placed her palm on its surface. Soon they will learn ghosts have teeth. The sphere brightened. Across the dead zone, hidden ships stirred. Silos opened. Engines whispered. Hearts beat in rhythm. 8 hours. The fleet jumped with pride. The citizens cheered with joy. And Earth waited. Not to mock. To remember. To teach. To end the joke forever. Deep inside the ugly warship, the corridors ran long and narrow like veins in stone. Dim yellow lights ran along the ceiling, flickering every few steps. The air smelled of metal, oil, and faint recycled sweat. No luxury, no shine, just function. Survival. Captain Mara Kane walked alone down the main spine. Her boots echoed soft on the grated floor. Each step measured. Calm. On both sides, hundreds of humans stood at attention. Men with scarred faces and rebuilt shoulders. Women with steady hands and eyes that had seen too much dark. Children, some barely tall enough to reach the weapon racks, stood straight as adults. No fidgeting, no fear, just quiet focus. Their clothes were patched 100 times over. Faded gray fabric stitched with mismatched thread. Sleeves rolled up, knees reinforced. Every tear mended, every hole closed. Nothing wasted. Their weapons rested against shoulders or clipped to belts. Old rifles from Earth's final days. Plasma pistols scavenged from Coalition wrecks. Blades sharpened on asteroid rock. All perfectly maintained. No rust. No dust. Oiled. Cleaned. Ready. Mara passed row after row. Eyes followed her. Not with awe. With trust. Hard trust. The kind earned in silence over generations. A young man, maybe 20, held a rifle that looked older than him. His knuckles were white on the grip. Mara met his gaze for 1 second. He nodded once. Small. Firm. She kept walking. A woman in her 30s stood beside a boy no older than 8. The boy clutched a small sidearm. His mother's hand rested on his shoulder, not to hold him back, but to steady him. Mara paused for half a heartbeat. The woman's eyes were dry. Steady. She gave the slightest dip of her chin. Mara continued. The corridor stretched on. More faces. More scars. More patched sleeves. More old guns held like promises. At the far end, a sealed door waited. Heavy. Thick. No markings except a faint hand scanner glowing dull blue. Mara stopped. She raised her right hand, pressed it flat to the scanner. A soft beep. Red light turned green. The door hissed open, slow, deliberate, like a breath held too long finally released. Cold air flowed out. It carried the faint smell of ozone and ancient metal. Mara stepped through. The door closed behind her with a heavy thud. Inside was a small chamber. Bare walls. Single overhead light. No chairs. No consoles. Just one thing in the center. The blue sphere floated at eye level. No wires. No supports. It simply hung there, turning slow. Its surface swirled with inner light. Deep sapphire flecked with silver sparks. Beautiful. Deadly. Mara stood before it. Hands loose at her sides. Hello again, she said quietly. The sphere pulsed once, warm, responding. She reached out, placed both palms against its surface. The light flowed into her skin. Warm, familiar, like touching an old friend who never forgot. A voice, not sound but thought, brushed her mind. They come. Mara nodded. 3 dreadnoughts. 12 cruisers. Science wing. They jump with pride. They laugh on their feeds. They think this is the end of a ghost story. The sphere pulsed brighter. They will learn. Mara closed her eyes for a moment. We hid you for 400 cycles. Kept you safe. Kept you secret. While the world above burned. While tunnels filled with our children. While we rebuilt in the dark. You waited. She opened her eyes. Now they come to finish us. Again, the sphere's light steadied. Stronger. We finished them. Mara stepped back, looked around the bare chamber. This room had no windows, no view of the planet, but she could feel it through the hull, through the ship, through every human standing in the corridors outside. The heartbeat of Earth, million strong, patient, ready. She touched the sphere one last time. Wake the others, she said. All spheres, all silos, all guns. When the dreadnoughts arrive, when their scans touch our cities, when their admiral demands surrender. The sphere pulsed 3 times, quick affirmative. You lead. Mara turned, walked to the door. It hissed open at her approach. She stepped back into the corridor. The hundreds of humans still stood at attention. Not one had moved. Eyes locked on her. Mara looked down the long line of faces. Men, women, children, patched clothes, old weapons, hard eyes. She raised her voice, just enough to carry. They come to mock us, to erase us, to write the final line in their history books. Silence answered. Waiting. Mara's voice hardened. We do not write history with words anymore. She placed one hand on her chest, over her heart. We write it with what we survived. A low murmur rose, agreement, not cheer. Quiet, certain. Mara walked forward again, past the same rows, same faces. At the corridor's midpoint she stopped, raised her voice clear. To stations. No fear. No retreat. We meet them at the line we drew long ago. The humans moved as one. Weapons shouldered. Steps crisp. Children walked beside parents. No tears. No hesitation. They filed toward launch bays. Toward gun decks. Toward silo controls. Mara watched them go. Then she turned back toward the bridge. One last glance at the sealed door. The blue sphere waited inside. Pulsing. Ready. Outside the warship, the asteroid's hidden doors cracked wider. Engines whispered awake. The coalition fleet burned closer. 8 hours shrank to 7, 6, 5, and in the long corridor of memory, a scarred captain walked back to her bridge. Not to run, not to hide, to lead. Because the galaxy had forgotten one truth. Humans do not end. They endure. And endurance has a price. Today, the coalition would pay it. Inside the small chamber, the air felt thicker, cooler. The single overhead light cast a pale circle on the bare metal floor. No decorations, no chairs, just the blue sphere floating in the center, turning slow like a captured star. It was ancient, older than the warship, older than the tunnels where generations had hidden. Forged in Earth's final days, when the last lab still burned and the last scientists whispered goodbye to their children. A weapon born from desperation. A sphere that could think, adapt, cut through anything, hull, shield, arrogance. Powerful. The last one left. Mara Kane stood before it, hands loose, breathing steady. The door had sealed behind her with a final hiss. No sound from the corridors now. No footsteps. Just her and the sphere. Its surface swirled with deep sapphire light. Silver flecks danced inside like distant storms. No wires. No engines visible. It simply existed, defying gravity, defying time. Mara stepped closer. The light touched her face, warm against the cold scars. She raised one hand, stopped just short of touching it. "They're coming, old friend," she whispered. The sphere pulsed once, slow, gentle. Acknowledgement. She lowered her hand, let it hang at her side. 3 dreadnoughts, 12 cruisers, thousands of them. They jump with songs and cheers. They think this is the end of a bad dream. They think we are echoes, mistakes to erase. A small, tired smile touched her lips. They still do not understand. The sphere's light brightened slightly. Silver flecks spun faster. Mara looked up at it. "You waited longer than any of us. Hidden in vaults while bombs fell, while oceans boiled, while we dug deeper and deeper into the dark. You waited while children were born in tunnels, while we learned to eat dust and drink recycled tears, while we rebuilt one brick at a time." She paused, voice softer. "You waited while we remembered every name, every face, every vote in their pretty council chambers. You waited because you knew one day they would come back, to finish what they started." The sphere pulsed twice, quick, sharp. Agreement. Mara reached out again. This time her fingers brushed the surface. Warmth flowed into her palm. Not heat, not electricity, something deeper, like memory made solid. "Time to remind the galaxy," she said, voice steady now, "why they should have left us alone." The sphere's light flared, bright sapphire filling the room. For one heartbeat, Mara's shadow stretched long across the wall. Then the light dimmed to a steady glow. A thought, not words, but clear certainty, brushed her mind. "We remind them now." Mara closed her eyes. Let the warmth spread up her arm, into her chest, into the place where 400 years of silence lived. When she opened her eyes, the sphere had risen higher, turned faster. Silver flecks formed patterns, old maps of Earth's lost cities, trajectories of incoming fleets, weak points on dreadnought hulls. It showed her everything. She nodded once. "Good." Mara stepped back. The sphere followed, slow, floating at her shoulder like a loyal shadow. She turned to the door. It hissed open without command. The corridor waited. Hundreds of humans still stood at attention. Faces turned toward her. Eyes hard. Weapons ready. Mara walked out. The blue sphere drifted beside her, silent guardian. Every human in the line saw it. No gasps, no questions, just quiet nods. They knew what it was. They had grown up on stories of the blue one. The last weapon, the one that would wake when the time came. Mara stopped in the middle of the corridor, raised her voice, clear, carrying to every year. "The fleet arrives in hours. They come to burn us again, to ride extinct one more time." Silence answered. Waiting. Mara looked down the line. Men, women, children, patched clothes, old guns, unbroken eyes. "We do not ask for mercy. We do not offer it." She placed one hand on the sphere beside her. Its light pulsed in rhythm with her words. "This is our final answer. Our memory. Our teeth." A low sound rose, not cheer, not roar, a steady murmur. Hundreds of voices together. Quiet. Certain. "We remember." Mara nodded. "To stations. Spheres launch on my word. Guns fire on contact. No retreat. No surrender." The humans moved. Clean. Organized. Children walked with parents toward deep shelters. Adults filed to gun decks, silo controls, fighter bays. Mara watched them go. Then she turned toward the bridge. The blue sphere floated at her side. Jax waited at the corridor's end, his metal arms crossed, red lens steady. "Ready?" he asked. Mara looked at the sphere. It pulsed once, bright, final. She smiled, small, dangerous. "Always." She walked past him, toward the bridge, toward the viewport, toward the incoming red dots that would soon fill the sky. Behind her, the warship woke fully. Engines rumbled low. Silos opened across the planet. Black spheres rose on silent platforms. Railguns extended. Fighters taxied into tubes. Millions waited, not in darkness. In light they had made themselves. The coalition fleet burned closer, laughing on their feeds, cheering in their galleries, thinking this was the end. But in a small chamber deep inside an ugly warship, a scarred captain had whispered to the last weapon, and the weapon had answered. Time to remind the galaxy why some things should never be left alone. The blue sphere pulsed brighter. The countdown ended. The reminder began. The coalition fleet is hours away from the dead zone. The humans are waiting, and something inside that blue sphere is starting to wake up. Episode 3 will upload soon. Stay tuned with us. Drop a comment below. What do you think? The humans are waiting. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more intense galaxy-bound HFY episodes. Rocket.